Good morning.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
Great.
I am over here on the West Coast for the first time. We've been filming East Coast universities for years. I'm so excited to hear about Stanford. So, if you're ready, let's ask the first question of who are you?
Aayush. I was born in India. I grew up in Ghana, Accra. I study computer science and excited to do my master's program next year.
Okay. What is your master's program in?
Also computer science. I'm not very creative.
That's okay. How many different computer languages do you speak?
A couple. Speak well is a different question, but a couple.
Fair enough. How do you like Stanford?
I think it's fun. The vibes are great. I think the main reason I chose here was because of the weather, because it's warm and the other places are cold, so
Yeah.
it's nice in that sense.
Which other places are you referring to that you were looking at?
I mean, I guess the sort of perennial question is always West Coast or East Coast, so I kind of chalked off the entire East Coast because I can't deal with the cold.
Yeah. If you could go back in time, would you choose Stanford and the West Coast again?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's your end goal after graduating and getting your master's?
That's a hard question. Probably just to continue challenging myself, but most importantly, having fun in life.
I like that. What's your most impressive achievement?
Let's see.
I mean, you have to brag, no being humble.
No. Well, you know, I think freshman year, I remember I told all my friends that I would convince them at some point to come to Ghana and visit me there. And I think finally for my 21st birthday, or just around that time, I was able to convince everyone to come. So I got like 7 people to come to Ghana with me, and we had a blast for like 10 days. So that was honestly pretty
so
impressive
cool.
in my books.
Yeah, no, that's really impressive. What is it like in Ghana? What's your favorite thing about the country?
I think it's just the chill vibes. You know, people don't take themselves too seriously. The music is great, the food is great. I mean, what else could you ask for, you know?
Yeah. As an international student, what is the biggest culture shock you've had since you've been in the States?
That's funny. I think in Ghana, one of our love languages is brutally insulting people and roasting them. And I think it took me a little bit by shock where I remember I roasted my freshman roommate early on in the year, and he's like, "Oh my God, what?" And so that took a little bit of time to get used to, but I think all my friends love getting roasted by me now, so. It's cool.
Yeah, Americans are a little more sensitive, I have to say.
Yep.
But where are we on campus right now?
We're in main quad. This is one of the more historic places on campus, I guess.
It's absolutely beautiful. Can we walk around the quad a little more?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. So, as an international student, I want to ask, what was the application process like for Stanford?
I mean, pretty similar, I'd say, to most people. I guess I couldn't really do any sort of interview because they didn't have anyone in Ghana to interview me for. But other than that, I think it's the same shtick, you know,
Cool.
write the essays and all that.
Is there any advice you'd give an international student applying?
I would say really emphasize the things that make you different from other people.
Okay, yeah. How many dining halls do you guys have on campus?
Oh, I mean, we have like 8, 10, yeah.
Okay, which one's your favorite?
I probably have I mean, I definitely have a love-hate relationship with this cafeteria, but Stern Dining, because I've probably been there the most. Yeah.
How does the
I'll leave it at
food
that.
here at Stanford compare to the food back home in Ghana?
Yeah, no, there's this thing we put in food. I don't know whether people you have heard of it. It's called a flavor or a spice. I know, but I mean, like, once I learned to use a lot of hot sauce and all that on my food, I think I was able to deal with it.
So the food isn't the best?
No, it's fine. It was just initially there was a shock of like, y'all really just eat like boiled chicken and just that, and I was like, what is going on here?
So you do miss the food back home?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Where do you guys go to eat late night snacks if you're up late?
Oh yeah, I mean, freshman year we had this thing called late night. It was open until like 2:30. Low-key a scam because like it wasn't involved in our dining plan, and like we'd have to pay out of pocket, which is, whatever. But like the vibes are great.
Okay, cool. Are you involved in any clubs or societies on campus?
I'm actually a little bit notorious for every single club I've joined, I've actually quit within like 3 or 6 months because I think people in clubs take themselves a little bit too seriously. But in terms of things I do outside the classroom, like I do research with like professors and stuff like that in like the machine learning space. So
very cool. Okay, would you say your school is cliquey?
It gets more cliquey as it goes on. Like freshman year, no, not really. But senior year, looking at it now, COVID also played a part, but I think now it's definitely more cliquey.
Would you say Stanford is a party school?
No.
How often do you guys go to party?
I'm a big believer in the weekend starts on a Thursday. So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night.
Very fun.
Although sometimes the homework does make it a little bit hard to do that, but that's the goal. I think most weekends I'll do that.
Yeah. Can you describe the best party you've been to on campus?
I mean, it's a bit of a violation, but like the best parties are the ones that like aren't on campus or the ones where we kind of leave campus. I think the best one's called Beta Breakers, where we get up at like 4:30 a.m., we consume various liquids, and then get on a train to SF and do this like run from one part of SF to the other part of SF. And like people are wearing costumes. Some people aren't wearing anything as their costume, but that's another thing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of fun.
This seems so fun. So I do have to ask, do you prefer San Fran or LA?
Never really been to LA much, so I don't think I can answer that question fairly, but like San Francisco is a vibe. Yeah.
So Stanford people don't really head over to LA? It's not a common thing to do?
No.
Okay,
no.
Good to know. So is there a song you hear consistently at every party?
I mean, there was a phase where Old Town Road was queued up every other song. Thank God that's done with.
If you had to say, is Stanford more of a fine wine, a Scotch beer, or tequila?
I think it's probably a beer, honestly, because I think like we don't really go very hard, and I wouldn't blame anyone if they didn't like the taste of it. So
that's fair. Does Stanford have any more unique traditions? I heard you guys are naked often.
Ooh, I don't know who you've been talking to there, but no, I mean, like, we do have, like, some unique stuff. I guess we do this thing called Primal Scream, which is, like, during finals week, there's a certain time where everyone, like, opens up their window and just screams as loud as they can. And you can kind of just hear it from all around campus, which is pretty cool.
Wait, that's so cool. Have you participated?
Oh, of course.
Very cool. Did you lose your voice?
No, but I've definitely lost my voice doing other things. So.
Like what?
Like, I am in the fraternity, and like there is a decent amount of shouting involved with stuff in that in general. So yeah.
Which frat are you a part of?
It's called 𝐋𝐄𝐓'𝐒. I love all the guys there. I like to describe us as people you'd be okay introducing your mom to.
Oh, okay, I like that. Do you know how many libraries are on campus?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know this a day ago. I had to ask someone about this, but apparently we have 20 libraries on campus.
Wow, so a lot.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite one you like to study in?
I've only ever been into one library, so I guess by default that has to be my favorite. So Green Library.
Where's your favorite place to study in general?
I'm always someone who's like to study in my room, actually. I've been in more social rooms at times, less social rooms at times, but I don't know. I like the space of like being in my desk and having my whole setup. Yeah.
I'm the same way. How many people are typically in your classes?
CS is the biggest major on campus by quite a bit. Like the intro class has like 600 people, but I think most classes, because I do like the machine learning AI specification, will be like 100, 150.
Okay. What's the hardest class you've taken here at Stanford?
That's a good one. I took this one computer systems class this one time. For any of my CS people out there, you know that stuff ain't easy. But yeah, so that was tough.
So what advice would you give other computer science majors coming in to Stanford?
Ooh, that's good. I think the stuff you do in the classroom is honestly not very applicable to like practical like building of things and models and applications and all that. So really try to do stuff on your own as well, because you will learn an awful lot, especially when it comes to like website stuff and all that.
Okay, that makes sense. How many hours of sleep would you usually get during the school year?
I think I I actually took a class, amazing class by the way, Sleep and Dreams. Like you learn all about sleep, and we were told to track our sleep over the quarter. And so I think I start a quarter off with like 8.5 hours, and then eventually as it goes on, it like falls in a linear fashion down to like 6.5. So somewhere in that range, I guess.
Cool. What's the coolest thing you learned about sleep from that class? If you remember anything.
I will say try to maintain a very stable sleep schedule. Like even if you're sleeping at heinous hours, so I sleep from like 4 a.m. to noon some days, but my professor was like, that's fine as long as you keep doing that. So.
Okay, cool. How many hours of homework do you typically do a day?
I'm a little bad at this. I like to work at like extremely productive bursts of 5 minutes. So I'll probably do like an hour a day, something like that.
Okay. 1 to 10, how attractive is the student body?
You know, I'll big ourselves up a bit. You know, I'd say a smooth 7.
Okay. And I heard you have a girlfriend. Do you want to shout her out?
Of course, Alexa.
Hey, Alexa.
Yeah, she's very wonderful. I don't know how she puts up with me. I think one of my passions is annoying her, but I guess she's okay with that.
Do you think Stanford students are like you and prefer to date or just hook up?
Changes over time. I'd say freshman year, everyone's kind of like just a bunch of zoo animals that have been released out to go frolic in the woods. So, you know, things operate like that. But over time, I think people settle down, yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about Berkeley?
Berkeley? I mean, I have a lot of friends there. I don't really think a lot about Berkeley.
Yeah, that's right.
I've heard Berkeley students think a lot about us. I'll let you read into that, what you will.
What would you say is a stereotypical Berkeley student?
I mean, very smart, very driven, maybe just a little bit less down to go walking around late night is probably the only difference I'd probably say.
How about a stereotypical Harvard student?
I've met a few Harvard students in my time too, probably better at table manners.
So I know Stanford is a huge campus. How much do you walk a day?
I should be walking more than I do. I'm not gonna lie. I got a car like at the end of junior year, and now I walk an embarrassingly little amount.
Fair enough. Do a lot of students have cars as well, or bikes, or skateboards?
I think I think COVID kind of forced a lot of people to get cars because there was we're all kind of dispersed around the country and living with friends and so on. So I think a lot of seniors and juniors have cars, but otherwise, mainly stuff runs on bicycles.
Okay. So how often do you leave campus?
Personally, I like to leave campus for parties mainly.
Yeah.
We will go to SF on mainly Fridays and Saturdays. Yeah.
How much is tuition?
A lot.
Fair. Have you had any unique internships?
I mean, I'd say I'm currently doing quite an interesting one. I've actually left my job for this, so my manager thinks I'm busy, hard at work at my desk. But the one I'm doing currently right now is actually quite fun.
What are you doing?
Helping out an electric vehicle company build out their self-driving. So it's me and my manager, and the goal is to do this in 2025, so not a lot of stress, but the actual stuff is pretty cool.
That's really cool. So when self-driving cars come out, do you think you'll be one of the first people to have one?
I mean, Tesla already is pretty much there, but I think the goal is for it to be as safe as possible. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about the Silicon Valley pipeline?
Sure. Yeah. I think a lot of one of the main reasons people come to Stanford is eventually to join that sort of tech bubble that does exist here. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, there are a lot of CS kids, and that's kind of that's basically how it works. And so a lot of kids will do software engineering, whether it's startups or big tech.
Yeah. If you think you could change one thing about Stanford, what would you change?
That's a good question. I think the social scene I would like to see rehauled a little bit. I think over time, the parties have gotten a little bit stale on campus. So I'm hoping there'll be some sort of change at some point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think the majority of kids here want to change the world or just be rich?
That's a good question. I think at Stanford, it'll probably be people who want to do both.
Good, I like that. What would you say is the #1 tip to succeed here at Stanford, just in general?
Ooh, I would say don't take yourself too serious. Meet a lot of people, and try and surround yourself by people who you are inspired by, who are nice to you, and I think who are also pretty funny. I think, yeah, that helps.
Why do you think Stanford chose you?
Have you seen the smile bird? No.
It's unmatched, honestly, this smile. Do you think Stanford is the best university?
Ooh, I don't know by what measure. I'd say for a lot of people, it would be the best university, because I think there are a lot of people who really want to get into entrepreneurship, and I think for that specifically, it's probably the best university. I can't really speak for all majors, but yeah.
Yeah. So do you think everybody watching this video should apply?
Yeah. I mean, I do know like it does cost some money to apply, so obviously not everyone needs to apply, but I think if you like good weather, if you want to maybe join like small companies, start something for yourself, if you like California, I think Stanford is a good choice.
Perfect. That is all the questions I have for you.
Sweet.
Thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Bye.